Been making music since 1964. Their music has evolved steadily from jazz to funk to disco to their more pop sound of today.
Ronald Carlos Bell, a founding member of the soul-funk band Kool The Gang, has died at the age of 68. He passed away at his home in the US Virgin Islands.
Don't think the spotlight only brings glamour and applause. In truth, behind that glow lie dark stories, tragedies never told. And Kool The Gang, a legendary, once unstoppable name is proof. Their lives weren't as dazzling as their stage shows. The roaring laughter was just a fragile mask hiding deep wounds and irreparable losses. They soared together, then crashed into a chasm of conflict and separation. You won't believe what happened when these brothers started losing themselves in their own darkness. This isn't a tale of fame, it's a tear-soaked tragedy, a desperate fight to hold on to past bonds, if you doubt it. Join me now to dive into the grim, bitter journey of Kool The Gang, where the spotlight faded, leaving only raw pain. Jersey City, 1964. A bustling street corner cloaked in coal dust and the chaotic hum of car horns. Potholed roads wound through crowded slums, where a saxophone's wail rose from a rundown bar, a reminder that music thrived amid the grit. In that world, a group of teens began chasing bold dreams. Robert "Kool" Bell, a passionate young bassist, teamed up with his brother Ronald Bell, Charles Smith, Dennis D.T. Thomas, and a few others to form the Jazziacs. The name echoed their jazz roots, inspired by legends like Thelonious Monk and Miles Davis. For them, every note was an escape from harsh reality, a way to prove that in Jersey City's dark alleys, hope could still sing. Robert, curly-haired, sharp-eyed, was the glue holding them together. Ronald quietly shaped the music's soul. Lost in his keys and spontaneous melodies, Charles Smith was inseparable from his guitar, bringing a free-spirited edge to their sound. Dennis Thomas shone like a born star, always knowing how to grab a crowd. Ricky Westfield added emotional organ chords, while Robert "Spike" Mickens' trumpet carved out their yearning in sound. They played anywhere: block parties, seedy bars. No matter the audience, every note was a declaration of their hunger to be heard, to break free from the label of poor kids from Jersey City. After years honing their craft through countless challenges, by 1969 they rebranded as Kool The Gang. The name carried bigger ambitions, reflecting their shift from jazz to funk and soul genres shaking up the charts. Jazz remained their core, but funk was the spark to launch them. They signed with Delight Records, a small but promising label. Their debut album, all instrumental, dropped that year and turned heads. Their music was vibrant, electric, impossible to sit still for. Though early success came fast, beneath the excitement, quiet tensions began to creep in. In the early 1970s, Kool The Gang became a true performance act. They didn't just play music, they wanted to create an experience, to pull audiences into every beat. Vocals were added to sharpen the funk taking shape in their sound. Their 1973 album, Wild and Peaceful, was a game-changer. Hits like Jungle Boogie and Hollywood Swinging didn't just make them famous, they became radio staples. They were in demand, but that spotlight also started exposing hidden shadows. Ricky Westfield, the group's jazz pulse, felt out of place. By late 1976, tensions boiled over. Ricky couldn't accept the band's drift from pure jazz toward disco trends. He wanted to preserve their original spirit. But the rest, especially Robert and Ronald, chose adaptation to survive a fast-changing industry. By late 1977, Ricky walked away. He stepped out of the spotlight, gave up lucrative deals, and left the brothers he'd stood with. No one foresaw that his exit would kick off a chain of cracks that would wear the group down in the years ahead. Success kept coming, but so did the pressure. In October 1978, Kool The Gang earned their first Grammy nomination, a milestone that left them ecstatic. But the high didn't last. Their 1976 album, Open Sesame, was slammed by critics, some calling it a soulless jumble of sounds. Fans' lukewarm response fueled internal unrest. Robert felt the path ahead growing hazy, wondering if they were losing themselves. The studio turned tense. Charles Smith, usually calm, grew frustrated under label pressure. Ronald, ever steadfast, insisted change was vital to survive. The cost of fame became clearer not just in gold records and dazzling stages, but in strained bonds, silent sacrifices, and a past slipping away. By September 1979, a turning point arrived with James J.T. Taylor joining. His smooth voice and electric stage presence quickly became essential. The album, Ladies' Night, released that year, with its title track exploding across airwaves, shook Billboard and earned their first Grammy win. But beneath the dazzling glow, tragedy loomed. Robert "Spike" Mickens, the trumpeter behind their iconic melodies, saw his health decline. Persistent coughs and unexplained fatigue forced him to step back in early 1980, leaving a void not just on stage, but in the group's heart. No one knew it was just the start of a painful string of losses. In June 1981, Celebration sent Kool and the Gang to the stratosphere. The song transcended music, becoming a cultural anthem from wild parties to massive stadiums. Celebration echoed everywhere, cementing their global rise and earning an American Music Award. But backstage, simmering conflicts grew louder. Clifford Adams, the trombonist, felt overlooked. His key contributions to hits like Jungle Boogie and Hollywood Swinging underappreciated. The breaking point came after a show in Germany in April 1982 when he stormed out, leaving a deep mark of division. A rock star lifestyle of all-night parties, booze, and drugs began eroding their spirit and health. Some members lost discipline, missing key performances, frustrating Ronald, who was fiercely dedicated to the music, though he pushed for control. Robert Bell, the group's leader, felt caught in a bind. Keeping a tight-knit crew now meant facing the pressures of fame and money tearing them apart. By late 1982, Kool and the Gang was still soaring, but the cracks promised an internal storm on the horizon. In 1983, the group roared like an unstoppable race car, bright stages, frenzied crowds, and Celebration echoing from New York to London proved their dominance. Robert "Kool" Bell, always flashing a confident smile, carried a heavy burden watching those close to him spiral under fame, wealth, and temptation. The cracks from earlier years, Ricky Westfield's exit, Spike Mickens' illness, Clifford Adams' angry departure kept spreading, like fractures in thick glass waiting to shatter. James J.T. Taylor, who joined in 1979 with a soulful voice and magnetic stage presence, became the heart of hits like Ladies' Night, Joanna, and Get Down on It. By December 1984, Joanna hit Billboard's top 10, solidifying their global reach. Fans adored JT's neat hair and charming smile, an iconic image. But under the bright lights, he felt stifled, craving recognition as a star in his own right, not just a cog in the machine. That desire sparked quiet tensions within. Meanwhile, destructive habits crept deeper. Endless LA parties, pricey liquor, and drugs' deadly pull ate away at them. One member, nobody dared name him, was found drunk and AWOL during a crucial recording session on New Year's Day 1984, infuriating Ronald. Though he warned against self-destruction, his words fell flat. Robert, the leader, felt powerless as the internal storm grew fiercer. In March 1985, emergency dropped. With the ballad Cherish becoming a timeless hit, expanding their reach beyond funk and disco, they won over everyone from housewives to European teens. But amid the glory, another tragedy loomed. Charles Smith, the free-spirited guitarist, showed clear signs of trouble. Bloodshot eyes and erratic behavior led to tense moments, like a shouting match with a stage tech after a Paris show. Though Robert urged him to stay sharp, Charles slid deeper into addiction, signaling a serious threat to the group's future. By late 1986, D-Light's pressure intensified, demanding new Celebration or Ladies' Night level hits. Kool and the Gang felt drained. Ronald, pouring his heart into writing, admitted to Robert they were squeezed dry, treated like a soulless money machine. The album Forever, with its well-received Victory, still couldn't match past peaks. Critics called it a pale copy. Lacking their old fire, fans whispered the group's prime was over. Robert, reluctant to admit it, felt the weight. He pushed for a new spark, but deep down, he feared the glory days were gone. 2 years later, a massive blow hit when James J.T. Taylor, once their savior, left. He chased a solo career for freedom. But really, it was brewing conflicts. J.T. felt celebration. Joanna and Ladies' Night bore his voice, but rarely gave him due credit. Robert, desperate to keep him, calling the group family, watched helplessly as J.T. walked away, leaving Kool and the Gang in chaos. Fans were stunned. Media feasted on the drama. A Rolling Stone piece called it the death of Kool and the Gang, a gut punch to Robert. Post J.T. The group tried new vocalists, but none filled his shoes. The 1989 album Sweat flopped, deemed lifeless. Robert saw the ship sinking fast. Talks with Ronald revealed growing fatigue and pessimism, accepting their peak might be over. Charles Smith sank deeper into addiction, his instability glaring. During a Chicago show in May 1989, he could barely play, forcing Robert to escort him back to the hotel. For the first time, cutting out a close friend crossed his mind, but loyalty and shared memories held him back. By 1990, trouble wasn't just internal. A legal battle erupted over the group's name, as former members like Clifford Adams tried performing under Kool and the Gang variants. Robert, with legal help, entered a grueling fight to protect their legacy. The lawsuits drained money and tarnished their image. Fans split. Media spun sensational headlines, leaving Robert feeling the world was against them. Meanwhile, JT's solo path hit bumps. His 1989 debut, Master of the Game, didn't soar as hoped. Promoters rejected him, favoring Kool and the Gang. A quiet rivalry with Robert deepened. JT, feeling the group, dimmed his star. Personal struggles, like a 1991 divorce and financial woes, plunged him into crisis. Once a shining star, JT now fought to find his place. In 1993, the group tried a comeback with Unite, and JT briefly rejoined. But the old magic was gone. Shows lacked their 80s fire, and fans sensed the fade. Robert, heavy-hearted, pressed on to preserve what remained. But losses and tragedies changed them forever. Charles Smith, after years battling addiction, quietly left in 1994, leaving a gaping hole. Kool and the Gang, once a tight family, was a ship sinking in a raging storm. In the 2000s, Kool and the Gang no longer shone as brightly, though Celebration and Ladies' Night still echoed. They leaned on their past. Robert Kool Bell, now in his 50s, kept the group alive, gray hair and determined eyes behind his trusty bass. But deep down, he felt weary and alone. The brothers who'd stood with him were gone or wrestling their own demons. Kool and the Gang kept performing and recording, but the old fiery soul seemed faded. Early 2001 brought a bigger shock. An ad agency used Summer Madness and Jungle Boogie without permission. Robert, hearing the familiar tunes on TV, felt violated. With Ronald, his brother and confidant. They sued to protect their life's work. The 2-year legal fight from 2001 to 2003 became tabloid fodder, with sensational headlines turning some fans away, accusing the group of exploiting their own legacy. Robert read harsh online comments, feeling betrayed by those who once loved them, unable to grasp what the group had sacrificed. Though they won, the cost strained internal bonds. Dennis D. T. Thomas, the ever-smiling saxophonist, grumbled over his small share of the settlement. Ronald, usually reserved, staked his claim as Summer Madness's main writer. Meetings turned into shouting matches. With Robert struggling to mend things, the deep cracks were now undeniable, turning brothers into adversaries. In July 2004, the group tried a refresh with the hits reloaded, featuring young artists like Jamiroquai and Ashanti. It got better than expected buzz, but couldn't revive their old glory. Robert clung to faint hope, while Ronald doubted, feeling they were coasting on nostalgia and younger stars were using their name. Ronald grew distant, retreating to his keyboard to chase a lost creative spark. But worsening headaches plagued him, a secret illness he kept to himself. Meanwhile, JT, who left in the late 80s, struggled solo. His 2005 album flopped, and financial strain hit hard. The scars of his earlier divorce lingered, his life now confined to a modest apartment. Far from past glamour, he carried deep regret for leaving Kool and the Gang, a choice he now saw as losing everything. His bitter words about the group's lack of credit cut Robert deeply, who still saw them as family. Early 2007 saw another reunion attempt with JT, hoping to recapture the light. Shows buzzed as fans cheered Celebration's familiar voice. But backstage, tensions flared. JT demanded a bigger role and pay, while Ronald insisted no one should outshine the group. The brief collaboration collapsed, disappointing fans and sparking articles branding Kool and the Gang a drama band. Robert felt the world mocking him, though he only wanted to keep the team's spirit alive. On November 2, 2010, another blow hit when Robert "Spike" Mickens, the trumpeter who left in the early 80s due to illness, died at 59. The news stunned Robert, memories flooding back of Spike's sharp notes in Jungle Boogie and his gentle smile. Spike had battled his disease quietly, leaving a void. Robert held a simple memorial, but the loss weighed heavy, a reminder that time was stealing his brothers. On January 12, 2015, tragedy struck again when Clifford Adams, the trombonist who left over financial disputes, died after a long battle with liver cancer. His lack of insurance and reliance on community aid haunted Robert. Memories of Clifford's Hollywood swinging riffs were now just echoes. Guilt and helplessness gripped Robert, wondering if he'd done enough for his brothers. In private talks, he and Ronald vowed to care for each other better. By late 2018, a small joy came with a Songwriters Hall of Fame nomination. Robert, Ronald, and Dennis smiled at the ceremony, but unhealed wounds lingered. Ronald's health visibly declined, and Dennis confided in friends about post-divorce and financial struggles. Robert tried holding the group together, though it felt like clutching a fraying rope. The joy was short-lived. On September 9, 2020, a devastating blow hit like lightning. Ronald Bell Roberts' brother, the genius behind Celebration and Jungle Boogie, died quietly at his Virgin Islands home at 68. His cause of death stayed private, but his health had crumbled in his final months. The loss gutted the group, severing its soul amid the grief. New conflicts arose as Ronald's family fought over music rights. Robert, drowning in sorrow, faced tense meetings where his brother's legacy was dragged into a cold money battle. Less than a year later, on August 7, 2021, pain struck again when Dennis D.T. Thomas died in his sleep at his New Jersey home at 70. Robert got the news one early morning, the world collapsing around him. Dennis, whose saxophone defined Jungle Boogie and whose charisma lit up stages, left quietly after years of frail health. Memories of Dennis joking, vowing to play until they couldn't stand, lingered. Another brother gone. And Robert couldn't shake the sense that Kool and the Gang was crumbling piece by piece. In 2023, marking 60 years, Kool and the Gang released People Just Wanna Have Fun, a bid to return. Though some nostalgic fans cheered, it didn't win wide praise. Mixed reviews and claims. The group lost its spark cut Robert deep. Harsh social media comments calling them washed up, stung like slaps. As he urged the group forward, he wrestled with a nagging question: was the fire still alive? That year, George "Funky" Brown, founding drummer, released his memoir Too Hot Kool and The Gang and Me. It shocked with tales of his private battles, lung cancer, prescription drug addiction, and severe depression. He wrote of performing in a wheelchair, on oxygen, with doctors giving no hope. George also shared internal tensions, feeling overshadowed, and the pressure to stay upbeat publicly. Reading it, Robert was stunned by his friend's silent pain, wanting to call and apologize, but fate didn't give him the chance. On November 16, 2023, George Brown's illness took him at 74 in Los Angeles. Robert got the news en route to a show. The drummer who fueled their hits, who brought explosive energy, was now a memory. Fans mourned, but some criticized the group for not supporting George enough in his final years. The accusations made Robert feel the world blamed him, though he only blamed himself. Since then, Robert "Kool" Bell stands alone under the spotlight, his bass heavy in hand. The last founding member, 6 decades have passed since those gritty Jersey City days. Ronald Bell, Dennis Thomas, George Brown. His road companions are now memories. Charles Smith, Ricky Westfield, Clifford Adams, Spike Mickens, all gone. From illness or unhealed rifts, watching crowds sing celebration. Robert's heart aches with invisible pain. His stage smile masks deep wounds. He wonders if he can keep going when all that was Kool and the Gang is fading. Early 2024 brought a milestone when Kool and the Gang was nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, a childhood dream from their basement jam days. At the October ceremony, Robert's eyes shone with pride and regret. The honor, he said, belonged to all who poured sweat, blood, and tears into the legacy. But when the lights dimmed, he sat alone in the dressing room, recalling Ronald, George, and Dennis, the brothers who shared the highs and lows. The arguments, laughs, and old dreams were now memories, and he alone received the hollow crown, beautiful but missing their presence. A small comfort came with James J.T. Taylor, who left in 1988, returning for select 2024 shows. At 71, his silky voice still captivated, especially on Ladies' Night during the heavily promoted Summer Tour 2024 hyped on Facebook. But JT's shine wasn't what it was. Backstage, old tensions simmered. JT wanted clearer recognition, demanding his name on posters, while Robert, weary of endless fights, stressed the group was a collective, no one above it. JT's frustrated look needed no words, and Robert knew the old rift could prompt another exit, sparking fresh media storms. 2024 also saw Robert fighting to keep the group alive. He brought in new faces like Timothy Horton, replacing George Brown on drums, and Amir Bayan, his nephew, whose lively saxophone added spark. Kevin Bell, Robert's son, joined with guitar and a drive to carry the family legacy. Seeing the new lineup, Robert felt a flicker of hope, but couldn't deny this wasn't the Kool and the Gang of the 70s and 80s. The young talent, though passionate, couldn't fill the void left by departed legends. Meanwhile, rumors of financial mismanagement flared on music forums. Some fans accused Robert of unfair profit splits, claiming he kept the bulk while newcomers like Timothy Horton or Lavelle Evans got scraps. The betrayal stung Robert. He told his manager he'd devoted his life to the group's survival, not greed. Yet the criticism persisted, with a Guardian article questioning if Kool and the Gang should disband with only Robert left from the founders. Despite the noise, one question haunts Robert: is he holding on to a broken dream? Kool and the Gang isn't just a band, it's in his blood, inseparable. He can't stop, can't let go. Though every step is a fight against a haunting past, relentless criticism, and his own heart, he vows to keep going for the fans, the legacy, and the brothers gone. Amid this, copyright disputes remain an open wound. Ronald Bell's family, after his 2020 death, sued over rights to classics like Celebration and Jungle Boogie, alleging Robert and the current lineup profited unfairly, though it pained him. Robert turned to the law, reluctantly fighting family. The ongoing case drew media buzz, with articles calling it Kool and the Gang's final tragedy. JT, too, faced personal struggles. after the brief reunion. He returned to solo work, collaborating with young DJs on socially conscious tracks. But today's market, dominated by Drake or Beyoncé, left his new songs struggling. His life, now simpler in a South Carolina apartment, is far from past glitz. In an interview, JT spoke of feeling abandoned, his legacy overlooked by the group. The remarks sparked debate, splitting fans between those hailing JT as the 80s hits soul and those backing Robert, dismissing it as attention-seeking. Reading the comments, Robert felt drained, wondering why brothers now turned against each other. Kool and the Gang's future remains uncertain. Robert plans a new album, hoping to breathe fresh life into the group. He told his son Kevin they'd create something unique, making the world take notice, but the words feel like self-comfort amid challenges. Fans still love Celebration and Jungle Boogie, but will they embrace a Kool and the Gang without Ronald? Dennis or George Robert has no answer, only knowing he must push on to prove the legacy deserves to outlive its conflicts and tragedies. Kool and the Gang's story is a somber ballad, from Jersey City's poor streets to glory's peak, then plunging into division and loss. Robert Kool Bell, the last standing, carries both pride and unending pain. He's the flame keeper, but the fire's fading. Each note, each stage, reminds him of what's lost brothers, dreams, a glittering era. Kool and the Gang, with all its splendor and tragedy, will always be a legend and a deep scar in Robert's heart. When the stage lights dim, he stands alone, amid memories and immortal melodies,